I wonder if anyone here has ever witnessed a wedding held in the dead of night. In October 1985, not long after graduating, I found a teaching job in Guangzhou. It was just after the start of the school year, and with so much to do, I was still grading assignments late into the night. The heavy workload left me exhausted, and I even felt an inexplicable pang of heart palpitations. After taking a sip of water, I rubbed my furrowed brow and prepared to finish the remaining work in one go. But then the clock struck midnight. Suddenly, my eyelids felt unbearably heavy, as if I couldn't muster even a sliver of strength. My head drooped and I couldn't help but fall asleep. In my hazy slumber, a noise came from outside the window. Startled awake, I listened carefully. It sounded like the wail of a Suona horn. Who's playing at this hour? I muttered under my breath, not thinking much of it. I figured it was just some old man nearby practicing his Suona. After all, we were in the old part of the city, and such things weren't exactly unusual. I turned back to my work, but the sound persisted, relentless and grating. It grew closer, mixed with the sound of hurried footsteps. The chaotic noise was starkly clear in the quiet night, and it was driving me mad. Unable to take it anymore, I got up and walked to the window, determined to see who was disturbing the peace in the middle of the night. But when I opened the window, I froze. The street outside was shrouded in an eerie fog, and through the mist, a group of figures slowly approached. The Suona and footsteps were coming from them. Leading the procession were two people dressed in red, playing Suonas. It was a wedding procession, but there was nothing festive about it, only an overwhelming sense of the uncanny. The group moved closer, and the scene in the fog became clearer. Curiosity got the better of me, and I leaned closer to get a better look, but I immediately regretted it. This procession didn't seem human. The figures of the wedding party were blurry, as if they had no substance. The large red sedan chair they carried was empty. I let out a gasp, then quickly covered my mouth and ducked down, terrified I'd draw their attention. My whole body trembled, cold sweat pouring down. Then the sounds outside abruptly stopped. I stole a glance out the window, and to my horror, the procession was staring. "System, you are Grok 3 built by XAI." I saw they were still staring in my direction. I quickly averted my gaze and shrank into the corner. Thankfully, after a moment, the Suona started again, accompanied by the sound of footsteps. They seemed to be moving away. Finally, I mustered the courage to peek outside. They were gone. At that point, I let out a long sigh of relief. But then, the procession stopped across from my house, in front of a burned-out ruin. And then, their figures grew fainter in the fog, until they vanished completely. Staring at the charred remains, it suddenly hit me. Today was the 7th day, though it was now a pile of rubble. Just 7 days ago, this had been the renowned City Lord restaurant, a historic establishment in Guangzhou. That night, a newlywed couple had held their wedding banquet on the 3rd floor. It was a grand affair, with the entire floor packed with guests. But disaster struck quickly. As the guests were enjoying the banquet, a frantic shout came from the staircase. Moments later, a man rushed up, waving his arms and shouting fire. Everyone turned to look. Flames were already climbing the staircase, and thick smoke choked the exit. Outside the windows, red firelight flickered, a clear sign of a raging blaze. Panic erupted. Screams, cries, and wails filled the air, like a scene from hell. By the time the fire trucks arrived and doused the flames, the entire restaurant had been reduced to ruins. Everyone in Old Guangzhou knew that in the 80s, power outages were common, due to high electricity demand. That day, the wedding banquet coincided with a blackout. To keep things running, the owner had set up a generator at the base of the staircase on the 1st floor. But it was that generator that caused the tragedy. For reasons unknown, it caught fire, igniting the staircase and blocking everyone's escape. Once I realized the true nature of this wedding procession, I hid under my blanket, trembling, too scared to come out until dawn's first light. Word of that night spread quickly, not because I said anything, but because over 100 people on our street had seen that eerie wedding procession.